And to think I called the game on Tuesday night and upset the Raptors absolutely blow out the Milwaukee Bucks Thursday night for the huge win to take them one game back of 500. So what was the secret ingredient for the Raptors in this one? Let's get into it. This is a Raptors Roundup, this segment on the channel where we round up the Raptors game from the night before on Amateur Hour Sports, a channel where you get NBA content with a focus on the Toronto Raptors. So if you like what you see from today's video, you want more of myself talking about the Raptors in videos just like this, make sure you hit that like button to help us reach new viewers and hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with all the future content we're dropping. We also do live streams on the channel along with those videos. We live stream every Raptors game for a watch along. Check out all the great content you missed out last night in the stream. Powell's in the corner with Lopez on him. Ooh, nice little shimmy. See ya, DiVincenzo. Go find yourself a map, boy. Stream was so much fun. You missed a great one. We're streaming again tonight for the game against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Make sure you are there so you don't miss out on the fun this time. But let's get into our video. It's the Raptors Roundup. You already know by this point. So what we do in the Raptors Roundup is we take you through a brief overview of the game. Then we go through a synopsis of what transpired over the course of that game. And then we leave you with 3 key takeaways to move on with for the future. So let's get started. So before the game started, if you were there for stream, you knew I was confident. I was feeling really good about this game for some reason. I mean, the Bucks have struggled since Drew Holiday went out for protocol, and the Raptors already beat them Tuesday night. I didn't think they would win that game on Tuesday night, but seeing what happened in that game, I was confident that the Raptors would get this one done tonight. And despite not having Kyle Lowry, the Raptors coming into the game had won 13 in a row when Kyle Lowry is out for the game, inactive for the game. So I felt good despite Kyle Lowry not being there. And I don't think it's because Kyle Lowry is there. I feel like I saw a good tweet. It's more so in spite of Kyle Lowry not being there, the team really rallies in his absence, and it seems like that is what happened in this one. What worked well against Tuesday was the effort the Raptors displayed to run in transition on defense, rotate well, and also rebound well. They out-rebounded the Bucks despite playing small ball. Even though they're a much more smaller team, the Raptors still had the effort to out-rebound them, and on the other end, the Raptors really needed to hit their threes, and the same game plan needed to be deployed here. If the Raptors wanted to get another win over the Bucks, that is how they would have to play again. So we would have to see how it transpired throughout the game. Let's get into the first quarter of the game. So my theory before the game was without Kyle Lowry, we just revert back to Aaron Baines in the starting lineup. But that is not what happened. Nick Nurse is really going to roll with this small ball lineup, and it worked to great avail again. DeAndre Bembry got the start for the Raptors in this one in the small forward position. Fred VanVleet, Norman Powell, Bembry, Anunoby, and Siakam were the starting 5 for this one. It was interesting. It was an interesting decision, but I think Nick Nurse is really kind of honing in that this small ball mentality, this small ball tactic that we've deployed is going to be here to stay, and you got to get used to it. So, props to him for making that call. We did come out a little bit flat in this one. Bryn Forbes was just knocking down shots. The Raptors weren't doing a good enough job to contest him. And again, I'm getting nightmare flashbacks of Semi Ojeley's first quarter against us, but cooled down eventually. DiVincenzo was also another one who had quite a good first quarter just to start off the game. But then once the Raptors got settled in, they made it an even game again. I was thinking throughout this one, the key to this game would be keep it close for the first 3 quarters and, use your talent to try to overcome and hit the big shots in the fourth quarter, because that's what worked on Tuesday night. And the Raptors, at this point early on in the game, are keeping it close. Getting back in the game took a lot of poise, and it needed a lot of aggression from guys like Pascal Siakam to get to the rim. Early on, the shots weren't falling for Siakam, but the good signs were that he was getting aggressive and getting to the rim still. And I knew even in the first, they weren't falling, but they would start to fall eventually. I can always forgive execution, but you can't really forgive the decision being wrong or the mentality being wrong. And Siakam had the mentality at this point. Now, also, Norman Powell, the king of the first quarter, also came out hot, had himself a great game. And even Fred VanVleet was knocking down shots to help us get settled into this game. Fred typically thrives in the absence of Kyle Lowry. It was close until late in the first quarter when we sub in Matt Thomas and Aaron Baines, and that is when the Raptors really take over this game. Matt Thomas, there's question marks about his defense. I, for one, don't think it's nearly as bad as people say, and a lot of question marks about Aaron Baines, but the Raptors go on a huge run with these two on the floor, and Matt Thomas is playing some great basketball. Despite not always getting open for threes, the fact that guys on the other team have to go D him up leaves open space for other guys on the floor, and Matt Thomas played great and got a lot of minutes in this one, ended up being a plus 13. So all you out there who criticize Matt Thomas and say he doesn't get minutes because he's horrible on defense, I beg to differ, and this game is a good example of that. This little run at the end of the first closed out the quarter with the Raptors up 32-26. Good start. That run near the end of the first quarter did something to fuel this Raptors team, because at the start of the second quarter, the Raptors took over this game and never looked back. Siakam was being aggressive still, and this time the shots were falling, and he was starting to hit threes as well, and it seems like Siakam is absolutely back to his best, not just from a slashing standpoint, even hitting threes, and Norman Powell as well was another guy, slashing, getting to the rim, and hitting his three-point opportunities when they fell his way. But this game, and this moment here, this moment in the second quarter, everything that transpired, it wasn't about the offense. The offense was fine, but the offense was about what we would expect from a usual Raptors performance. It was the defense. The defense was absolutely elite tonight. It was like I was watching the Raptors of last season. The defense was here, and it was here for the game on Tuesday against the Bucks, and it's no secret that OG Anunoby's presence, just merely his presence, does enough to make everybody chip in that extra little bit on defense to stump this Milwaukee offense, who had absolutely no joy in the second quarter. Our rotations were elite, our rim protection and help defense was elite, our rebounding was great, and Giannis did not have that good of a shooting night by his standards, and we sent him to the line quite a bit where he was quite poor. So the Raptors did a fantastic job on Giannis all night. At one point in the second quarter, Fred VanVleet stripped Giannis going up for a layup in the paint. Like, Fred VanVleet, 6'0" Fred VanVleet stripped the back-to-back MVP Giannis in the paint, goes the other way, earns the Raptors an extra possession, and we get the layup for a +4 possession. Like, Fred VanVleet, this man is all defense. This man needs to be an all-star as well. Our offense, again, did what was expected, but the Bucks could not find a basket in this one. The Raps were rolling, and at one point, they were up by 18. Milwaukee just couldn't find the bucket, and the Raptors roll into halftime. They finished the half up by 16 points. I really cannot believe how well the defense is playing in this one. It was awesome to see. But despite being up 16, we know going into halftime that Milwaukee can go on a quick 10-0 run, no problem. So this game is far from done. You got to keep rolling. And we start the third quarter, and the Raptors continue to roll. Siakam, Fred VanVleet, and Norman Powell stayed on fire. I mean, at one point, Fred VanVleet took Giannis in an iso ball situation for the blow-by layup. Oh my goodness, Fred VanVleet, not only did he strip Giannis in the first half, but completely sauced him up on the perimeter in the second half. Like, is that your MVP? Is that your DPOY right there? Because Fred made an absolute mockery of Giannis in that play. And the last game on Tuesday made a mockery of Giannis, drove into the paint, stepped back for the mid-range Jimmy over Giannis's head. Crazy stuff from Fred VanVleet. Again, make this guy an all-star. This guy needs to be an all-star. The Raps all of a sudden found themselves up by 21 points, but then that's when Milwaukee started to chip away and come back into this game. They made it a 13-point game, but then Fred VanVleet stepped back for a nasty three-pointer to put it back to 16. But Milwaukee wouldn't be kept at bay, and they kept coming back, and the introduction of the other Antetokounmpo, Giannis Antetokounmpo, came into this game, and honestly, his energy off the bench just brought something different to the Bucks, and they started really performing. They started chipping away at this lead, making us very nervous. He was being energetic, getting a ton of dunks at the rim, getting a bunch of offensive rebounds, and the Bucks went on a 7-0 run. But every time it looked like they were right back in this game, the Raptors had a big bucket to answer the call, to keep it at double digits. We were nervous, but the Raptors were up by 12 at the end of the third quarter, and if you offered me before the game the Raptors up by 12 on the Bucks at the end of the third quarter, I would have snatched it away. But without context, you see the Raptors were up 21 at one point, but we have a lot of time to sort it out. We need to sort it out in the fourth quarter. And in the fourth quarter, we stayed a little bit shaky to start off. There was a bunch of nerves in the Raptors team, you could tell. And Giannis kind of stayed on point here, bringing the energy to the Milwaukee Bucks. But eventually, the defense finally started to settle in. We started to get back into this game. It eventually got into an 11-point game, and the Raptors offense was cold. Milwaukee was rolling. But Aaron Baines, who gets criticized heavily, who I thought has been a lot better in this backup role, had 3 straight plays where his help defense and rim protection stopped 3 straight makes for the Milwaukee Bucks. 3 makes that would have made it a close game. Again, 6 points that go begging for the Milwaukee Bucks because of Aaron Baines doing some great stuff on the help defense. Like, Aaron Baines has his critics, of course, but in this backup role, Aaron Baines did quite well here, and you got to appreciate him for what it is. He is a backup player. He is a backup up big and was pretty good in his backup role again last night. Also, not to mention that Aaron Baines had himself a quiet plus 19 night. So Aaron Baines contributed to winning basketball again yesterday against the Milwaukee Bucks. Like, it's clear that Aaron Baines does have an effect on the game, and it is a positive effect, contrary to the popular belief. Everything Milwaukee threw at us, usually we would have an answer, and it got to a 9-point game at one point. This was where I was the most nervous and the most scared about the game, but then OG Anunoby took it to the rim on back-to-back possessions for tough layups to make it a 13-point lead yet again. That was the dagger. And from that point on, I was confident. I had no worries in me that the Raptors were going to win this game. We regained the confidence off of OG's makes, and we rolled to the final buzzer, and we won by 14 points, 110-96. What a phenomenal performance yet again from the Raptors. I said that Tuesday night was probably their best performance of the season. I think it was this one. I think this one even topped it. 110-96. The defense was utterly sensational in this one. It was poetry in motion, watching those rotations for the Raptors, the closeouts, the help defense, the rim protection, and people working, showing the effort to rebound. Pascal Siakam finished this one with 27 points. Norman Powell, 29 points. Fred VanVleet also chipped in with a lovely 17 points. Lots and lots of positives for this one. Matt Thomas got serviceable minutes and contributed to winning basketball, finished as a plus 13, as I mentioned. So many positives to take away from this game. You know, after that loss to the Timberwolves on Sunday, the Raptors really could have folded, but no, they respond. Back-to-back wins versus the Bucks. This team means business. This Eastern Conference is wide open, and the Raptors, with a win tonight against the T-Wolves, can move back to 500. Really throw away those demons, get the monkey off their back, and go right at this conference, see how good they can do. Again, a great performance. Had so much fun on stream watching the game. We'll do another one tonight. Let's see if the Raptors can get back to 500. So now let's move into our 3 key takeaways from the game. The first key takeaway, Pascal Siakam is back. You know, I've kind of teased it on this channel before, but I'm ready to say it now. Before, when I was saying it, Siakam's back, you know, I wasn't like, okay, I don't want to jinx it, I don't want to say he's back, and then he regresses. No, Siakam is back. This is Siakam at his absolute best. He is averaging, I think, 23 points per game in his last, 9 games. So Siakam has really found himself. He's being aggressive, making tough finishes, getting to the rim, getting and ones, getting fouled more often, and knocking down his threes more efficiently. Siakam is absolutely back to his best. And even with all the great things he has on offense, still playing some good defense on the other way. Like Siakam, this is Siakam at his best. This is him back to his best. The confidence is there. You know, he's smiling, he's glistening, he's glowing on the court, and it's so entertaining to see him play again. Second key takeaway is that the Raptors defense is back. When OG Anunoby is available, the Raptors defense completely changes. Like, we are back to our best from a defensive standpoint. Like, we absolutely smothered the Bucks all night, and we locked up. Like, we clamped Giannis all night. I mean, obviously, Giannis is Giannis. He's going to get some points, but we clamped him. Like, if you watch the game, he had no joy at all throughout the entire game. Fantastic again from the Raptors for their defense. Third key takeaway is that the Raptors are 0-4 this season in back-to-back games, like the second game of a back-to-back, which will be what we have tonight against the Timberwolves. So the Raptors need to find a way to find this energy and come out and show the effort against the Timberwolves, because we know what happens when you don't have the effort. We lose Sunday night to the Timberwolves. But let's change that. We're rolling. 2 wins in a row against the Bucks. Let's come out. Let's use that to fuel us, give us that extra little boost of energy to win this one against the Timberwolves. You have to capitalize and go back to 500. I would say, come on. It's basically a must-win for me to get yourself back to 500 and continue to roll this season. So what did you guys make of this game? What was the big positive and the big takeaway you took from this one? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Let me know all of your thoughts and opinions on this game in the comments down below. But that wraps it up for me for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you're still here, please like the video if you like, to help us reach new viewers, and subscribe to the channel as well to keep up to date with all the future content coming on the channel. Lots of videos, lots of live streams, and there are some big plans for the future of the channel. Make sure you are along for that journey. Also, again, we're streaming tonight. Make sure you are there for the live stream against the Minnesota Timberwolves. We start off 15 minutes before the opening tip, so make sure you are there. At the end of the day, believe what I say. If you disagree, that is okay. We'll see you again next time for another video.